story.
This is a story.
This is the story.
14 Marines picked to go to Iraq
And have their lives taken.
find out what happens.
Find out what happens.
People stop being polite. Start being real.
Real world.
Real world.
Real world. Say.
I'm going to have to use the extension cord. You got battery life on there?
My workday consists of from 10 to 4, sitting in the wooden shack right outside our door here, and listening to music, and making sure people don't come in that are cleared.
Are you clear?
No.
So are you allowed in?
No.
McGuire. I think he's a little confused. A little confused guy. A little pound cake eater. Spanish, but in a way not Spanish.
Come on, baby. When you rock your hips, you know that it's amazing. Got me off the watching boys and girls in the sex appeal. With the stranger in the
Barking. Fucking
when you rock your hips, you know that it's amazing.
Matthew with Alabama. Alabama just says it right there. Alabama.
Alcohol. Usually when to Smitty for his birthday.
So what are you trying to say?
African American and be white.
New York, you know the Italian Americans.
Are you saying no? Okay. Are you saying no?
South America. If you're from South America, you're probably from the British background.
Might be South
So you're white.
American.
So you are African.
South
But you American. So you South African, but you're still white. Hey, English.
But you know what?
African American, and he was white as hell with red hair.
And where was these people from?
That's
South
African
Africa.
American.
And
Because he
so
was
where
born
was
in
his
South
people
Africa.
from?
South Africa.
No, I ain't talking about him. I ain't talking about the people that went over there and stole land. I'm talking about
The white people weren't over there until the Brits went.
White people come from Europe.
That's
Oh,
a
wherever
and
they
African
come from.
and black people. It's proven fact. The black people came from Africa.
When it all
There wouldn't be no black person in America. That's where all those black people. That's how all those black people became black people down there. Because other than that, there was nothing but Indians.
Yep. Now how come? Now you tell me this. How come an Indian ain't American?
Indians are damn American. Wait, what
Nah,
kind of Indians?
Yeah,
They're the
Native
true
Americans.
American.
How the white Americans, true Americans, when Indians?
Because you
was
see,
them-
there's the belief that you're white, but you're
Because-
really not.
Hey, look,
Because
hey,
Indians-
where the circle's going, where everybody going? I don't know. I want to talk about this shit.
It's not politically
everybody
correct
knows,
to talk about
everybody-
race and
'cause everybody knows.
ethnicity.
Indian, African American, German, Spanish, Puerto Rican motherfuckers out here. So what
Yep.
the fuck? I mean,
So
what
are you
gonna
saying
call
you're
them?
not Hispanic? You're American?
I'm saying my nationality is American. My race is Puerto Rican and German. And fucking my ethnic background is Latino.
Which race is politically wrong also because there's only one race and that's the human race.
Ain't it? We going by what?
It was like
From the
just one
fucking
chick
Democrats in the 1960s making a group called Demographic Minorities to raise funds for the Democratic Party. Booyaka.
What do you know about Democrats? But anyway,
What?
like I was saying, because this day slaves, this, that, and the other. I was like, yeah, they might have like some. They might have black traits
child.
because back in those days. But
When, how about why every time when fucking, Hispanics, blacks, and mixed races or whatever start talking about stuff like this, why do white people leave all the time?
Because they're
And
not
they say you
comfortable with
racist.
the shit.
I don't like that shit. That shit make me feel like they racist and they talking about you racist. You like, wait, hold up. Who are you? I'm like, I'm black.
I put
you're
other
not
on my
actually black, you're brown.
I figured if I'm Puerto Rican and German, that's
Like, technically, you're really like,
Well, if you really wanted to know the technicalities of the whole situation, well, I
really like,
you're like 3 shades from tan.
And now a wind's involved.
I come up there and bitch and be like, what is your like nationality or your background? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, where are your ancestors from? How the fuck would I know? I don't give a fuck. They're arguing and he's like, well, let's say you're like Russian. Let's say your family's from Russia.
Let's say you're
Are
a
you
communist.
Russian American? I'm like, no. He was like, exactly. That's why you're not from Africa. You can't say you're African American.
You can say whatever the fuck you want. Who cares?
Or yeah,
Because
when they're like,
most
oh, so what was the cause of the Civil War? I'm like, well, underlying issue, slavery, but the immediate cause, was like the tariff or whatever. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Slavery wasn't the problem. Well, I didn't exactly say that.
Clobie was knocking the stupid flag, whatever that is, the Confederate flag.
The Stars
flag.
and Bars is not the Confederate flag.
And like he's like saying how stupid that was that people.
We'll call it the queer flag.
The queer flag.
Or we can call it the Stars and Bars.
So, the other day, the two groups of morons got together and had an argument about the cause of the Civil War. On one side we had the Mexicans, and on the other side we had the hillbillies.
I know that Matt's got some pretty strong opinions.
First it started off, I walked over to the skip and I heard McGuire and Fitchin arguing. So, of course I sided with Fitchin's side because he was arguing for the South and McGuire was an idiot.
And his comment was that the Civil War was caused by
taxation without representation. What he was thinking of was the Revolutionary War. But I can understand his mistake because Mexicans weren't around for either war. Thus, he had no ancestors to pass this knowledge on to him. Not to mention, he probably grew up eating cactus and tortillas his whole life, never knowing how to read.
I think if you ever find people that argue that aren't really smart, i.e. hillbillies and Mexicans, when they get into arguments, it usually turns into a knife fight.
It's going to be difficult, seeing as there is a language barrier. Even though I am a Spanish linguist, he doesn't speak either language very well. So basically their arguments were totally stupid. So as more intelligent people, meaning Matthew Wynn and myself, had to continue the argument.
I just shut McGuire down talking about this because I actually know facts.
What was your argument when I don't hear?
Oh, every time he brought up something, I just refuted it. About slaves, about the flag.
You don't actually seriously argue, though, that the Civil War was about states' rights, do you?
It wasn't about slavery.
It wasn't about slavery.
No. Who
How was
brought
it
the
not
slaves
about-
into America?
The
North. The North. Primarily Massachusetts. I explained to him very casually that the North was the one that was importing all the slaves.
Well, Britain used to trade the slaves too, and then they're like, wait a minute, this is sleazy. Let's not do this anymore. And so they banned slave trade. No, it's the same thing.
It said slavery was the reason for the Civil War. That's not right. You made up that fact.
No, they didn't. Are you fucking crazy, dude? And it was established that causes Civil War, obviously slavery, and the North didn't want new slave states because that's going to give more power to the South. And the South obviously wanted more slave states because that's going to give more power to the North. The North, in that, is working against slavery, and the South is working for slavery.
But right there, your argument was that it wasn't about slavery. It was about the power.
It's only people from like the South that always claim that Civil War is not.
I mean, if it wasn't
about slavery, then what really came of the war then? Because I mean, what was the whole thing that came out after the war?
Yeah.
The reason the war happened is because the North wanted the South back. So I had to argue with him. He would say one thing and I would refute it, then he would come up with another idea.
I don't think it was taxation without representation. I think that's wrong. Manifest destiny, I think that's what it was. Something about slaves.
It was definitely the reason a lot of Northerners wanted to whoop the South because of slavery.
I'll say it was a reason, but I don't say it's the primary reason.
What was the primary reason?
Because the North wanted the South back.
His lack of education is understandable, but there wouldn't have been the problems if there wouldn't have been slavery. And there wouldn't have been the South seceding if there wouldn't have been slavery.
Bullshit.
Slavery was like, at least you gotta say slavery was like 75% of the reason because everything, pretty much almost everything revolved around slavery. Civil War.
But slavery was such a huge chunk of it that to deny that the Civil War was about slavery would be, that's just like complete ridiculous reasoning.
Now, see, we always reach an argument. Reach the conclusion of the argument.
Obviously, has no clue what he's talking about, yet still has a strong opinion, like most educated Americans. Well, it's impossible to say what was the biggest part of anything. Well, this caused that, or did that cause this?
Honestly, I had no opinion on this matter because when I was in school, I was spending my time getting drunk and getting laid and not studying Civil War history.
Slavery was such a big issue that you have to say you can't deny that it was one of the main reasons.
And if you look at as black people of a total like different kind of breed of humans. You know what I'm saying?
So he would change his theory from one thing to the next.
Well, obviously, if people condone slavery, they shouldn't be allowed to write anything.
The North could
Because they're clearly subhuman that should be enslaved.
The North was the one who brought over the slaves.
Because pretty much every culture in the world has at one point used slaves. It's just that most of them have realized it was stupid and admitted their wrongs. Whereas the South is still like, yeah, slavery wasn't that bad. Black people were a lot better off.
Let's do it again.
Anytime he threw out an idea, something that he's heard of, I had facts to back up what I said that disproved it. What state was the first state to try and abolish slavery?
Try and abolish, that's the key point, dude. Try and abolish. It's like, okay, dude, I try and get up and do things in a day. I consider it. But do I actually do that very often? No. Same thing with Virginia. They're just fucking lazy wastrels sitting around, oh yeah, let's go ahead and abolish. Not so much. Okay. I really doubt that attempt went too far. Because Virginia was it not the capital of the Confederacy?
Most of the world, yes.
Yeah, big go Pops. They were right there. And they were fucking in the middle of it, man.
But if I had to pick a side of who I think was right, even though I really have no idea, no knowledge on this subject whatsoever, I'd have to go with Wynn, because he is reading a book called The Alabama, the History of a Deep South State. It's some kind of book that I probably wouldn't read if you paid me. I probably wouldn't read it for $700.
You know, I gotta side with Matt just because he's from the South and his dad lost his thumb. He knows this shit. His dad lost his thumb in the Civil War.
Regardless, in the future, I will try and educate him.
And since I had more facts, I think I won the argument. But he still thought that he was right, and I know that I was right.
I'm gonna say Wynn is definitely right, and it was not slaves that started the Civil War.
If I was getting a fist fight, being with McCourt, well, I'd kill him.
What caused the Civil War? Because the North refused to move troops out of the South when the South asked them to leave nicely. Do I believe it had anything to do with slaves? No, I believe it was trying to keep the nation together. Slavery was just an issue to throw in with it.
Check out this hand.
Yeah.
Voy acá.
Alright, come on.